Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Nick Hughan with us, and Nick is a construction management expert. That's correct, right?
No,
No?
construction manager
Okay, okay.
yeah. I've realized that I'm learning every day, so I'm far from an expert.
Oh, oh, I see. You don't want to be classified an expert yet. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you are in construction management. Tell us how you got from a farm to construction management.
Very good question. As a kid, I grew up playing with Legos, and I saw a construction site when I was 3 years old. Um, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew I had to get into it. And so I thought at the time construction was Legos, and so I kept playing with it. And then I got intrigued with architecture as a teenager. And then I decided to major in mechanical engineering when I was at community college. But then I decided my true passion was again building structures. So majored in civil engineering at USC, and I had a professor named Henry Kaufman who, after some mentoring, recommended that I go into pursue the construction route within civil engineering. So I majored in civil engineering with since construction management, and then luckily was able to uh, become a project engineer for Altman's Construction, focusing on industrial tilt-ups. And that was back in 2019. I started with them, and the next year was COVID, which is the demand for warehouses skyrocketed. There was about 3 weeks there where we didn't know what was going to happen. Is it
Mm.
going to drop or not? And then all of a sudden, the big box realtors are telling us, why didn't you build double the amount? And so it
Wow.
was overdrive. And so just try to learn as much as I can.
So tell me a little bit about that period. I mean, all of a sudden there was this big demand for warehouses. You went into tilt-ups, and so the group you're working for all of a sudden had like what, twice the amount of work they were looking at originally?
A backlog, just about. It wasn't all at once because you got to go through permits and entitlements. But it was almost double, and I saw them hire additional people and I think open up in our office or two. Mostly was in the Inland Empire, a few up in NorCal, like Manteca area or San Jose. Um, just fast pace.
So can you give us some sense of what the cost of a tilt-up was at that time?
I can. Back in the day, this is excluding land, city fees, but this is just the construction itself. It was probably about change orders out the door, probably about $13.7 million for a 268,000 square foot building, 36 foot clear. That means you could stack 36 feet of pallets in
Right.
their space. And that included about a 9,000 square foot TI with a mezzanine.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, so if my math, what's the math here? You divide 13 million by 260,000. What's that come out to? About 200 bucks a square foot?
Uh, yeah, just about. Let me double. I'm pulling it up right now. That was 200 bucks square foot, but that includes, the off or that's I'm getting $51 a square foot.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, half that. Yeah. All right.
But that includes site work, that includes the off sites, doing the utility connections, now landscaping all the way down to HVAC.
But no land cost in there. That's just the building itself.
Correct. And that does not include the city fees.
Right. Right.
GC, we do not see the city costs or entitlements.
Well, how long would it take to entitle a building like that?
Well, it depends on the area or the agency. I think especially now, state law passed a law saying that you can't build new warehouses within, I think, a mile of residential
Oh,
area.
really? Oh, wow.
It was SB 51. I forgot the number, but that's drastically limited it. Normally, though, could be between 2 years, 2 to 3 years between
Oh, wow.
entitlements and agent. I mean, you got to get the entitlements, and then you got the permits and the plan revisions. You're probably looking at about 2 years if you wanted to, maybe three.
Right, right. 2 years sort of minimum.
And that's in SoCal. I've heard other areas like the Bay Area could be even longer, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
right, right. Yeah, no, San Francisco or the Bay Area can be more difficult in some ways. Yeah, so that's always a key factor. But okay, so that was that was 2019, you said?
Yeah, 2019, 2020.
So what has happened to that $50 a square foot price these days?
I think we're seeing it going almost to, I think we just got one for about almost 95, 100.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's
but I mean, it varies by
basically
size.
double. Yeah,
It varies by size. Like if you have a smaller square footage, yeah, small building, it could be 140 dollars
right.
a foot. Larger ones, it could be 70. What I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
a scale.
Kind of depends.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
were those poured in place tilt ups?
Yes, yes, it was fascinating. I actually got the privilege to watch it at 2 in the morning. You had
Oh,
the concrete trucks come out there starting at midnight, and they pour the sections, the foundations. They pour the foundation first, and
uh-huh.
in sections, I think up to like 30 or 40,000 per square feet at a time. And then after it's cured, then they'll start doing the form work for the panels. And then they'll pour the panels on top of it, and then they'll tilt it up. They'll tilt the panel up. That's hence the name. Um,
Right.
and they'll do it in the morning because they don't want the sun to mess with the curing process.
Oh, right.
They also don't want to mess with the traffic either. 2 in the morning, there's no one on the freeway.
Yeah, you can get a lot of cement trucks out at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about the curing process and so forth. So then you put a metal structure in between the tilt ups?
Correct. After you raise the panel, you'll put like metal braces to hold on to it. And then during which you'll get your columns, your structural steel columns, and then your braces to support it.
Right.
You'll
Yeah.
weld electrical ledgers or metal panels to the concrete panels
Right.
after
Right.
the structure, and then after that you just put the roof on it.
Yeah. Off you go.
Yeah,
There's got the warehouse, then you pour the slab, the base slab or whatever at the end.
yeah. You'll pour the strip around it,
Yeah.
and then you're set.
Off you go. Wow. And now
If
what happens when you have a dock eye?
Dockeye, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
Yeah. Just have
Dockeye.
a higher level.
Well, you have a higher elevation difference between the foundation and then the ground of the dock. So
Yeah.
generally, you'll have a 4 foot clear between that's what the concrete poured in. So there'll be a 4 foot elevation difference between the two. Uh,
Yeah. So works out nicely.
yeah,
And so prices have doubled. How is the current market for tilt ups or warehouse and so forth these days? What are you working on these days?
a lot of TIs.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, tenant improvements. Generally, when you'll like a warehouse in Carson or Torrance area, some of these buildings are, 30, 40, 50 years old. And so we call, I guess the industry calls them whatever, tenant improvements or these little offices. They're not
Right.
part of the shell. They're the non-structural drywall or the
Right. Right.
kitchens or the toilet, the bathrooms that you could demo with a permit, but you're not going to be interfering with the structure of the building.
So
Um,
it sounds like the warehouse market has slowed down quite a bit.
well, from the COVID highs,
Uh,
it has, but we're seeing a lot of like tenants moving in and out of buildings. And so then someone's saying back, I didn't know this, but 20 years ago, for a 100,000 square foot building, tenants wanted 20,000 square feet of office.
right.
Now,
Okay.
Now they want a maximum of 3,500 square feet.
Whoa, wait a minute. That's wait, 20,000 down to 3,500?
Yeah.
So, wow, like a whatever that is, a seventh of the amount.
You
Uh,
know, and what was kind of interesting is that on a project we had to demo the mezzanine, so the second floor.
right,
It was cheaper to demo the whole thing than it was to demo everything except for that 3,500 we wanted to keep. But
right,
mezzanine structure there, and you run into structural issues.
right.
So it's just a lot of the stuff like day to day. It's like I never would have thought of that.
No. Well, it sounds like so that's an interesting. So does that mean there are less people working in the warehouses or there's less admin going on in the warehouses?
It, it seems, based talking with tenants, it seems like there's less admin. I don't know if people are working from home more or what, but the tenants find more value in having more warehouse space for storage or equipment or whatever,
Right.
additional office.
Yeah, they don't need as much office as they used to.
Yeah.
That sort of makes sense to me. So are you using what kind of computer programs are you using these days?
Well, mostly Outlook, Excel.
Okay. That's interesting.
I'll use projects, Microsoft Project for scheduling purposes. Although sometimes if I want to make it super quick, I'll just put a schedule on Excel, and I'll just say plus, this date plus, 21 days, and you get a estimated time for another event. So, um, Project Excel, Chrome, Procore on a couple projects,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't, nothing too fancy, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So it project management, even though I'm sure there's fancy project management software out there, it sounds like you don't really need it or want it.
We like to keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we use Dropbox a lot, Adobe, you know,
Yeah. So do you actually you don't actually get into the CAD drawings per se?
not per se, but we'll go through um, the files. We'll go through the PDFs. We'll open up a set of plans, get familiar with the site, and then a couple of my coworkers will all get together. We work in the construction management together. We'll pick each other's brains and do a page turn. And
Uh,
page turns, you'll go through the set of plans and you'll flip through it. And you'll say, okay, hey, I had that problem on ADA back in on our project. That we better talk to the architect. And so you could address some potential change orders, but I've learned that it doesn't mean you'll be able to catch them all.
right, right.
Cities will say, "Hey, we want this in there," and you can't fight them. You can to an extent, but if they're going to hold up your certificate of occupancy, it makes it harder to convince them.
Right, right. Yeah, no sense fighting them. You might as well just change it and get it done and over with. So, so construction costs have gone up, warehouse development has gone down, office space has gone down. It sounds like the whole world has kind of changed around that. Are you using any kind of AI work in your process?
Um, we'll do it to compare either. Well, I use it to like grammar check some of my emails,
Hmm.
some of my
Right.
notes, especially if I'm trying to convince owner, hey, we need to update warehouse lighting from fluorescent to LEDs.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I want to make sure that I'm not putting a double negative in there. So I'll put it on ChatGPT and say I want to double check that my grammar things are as simplistic as I can. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I get too much in the details, and before I know it, I'm like, okay, I might have miscommunicated unintentionally. Uh,
No,
so
no, chat's great for that. I use it all the time for the same reason.
so then there's that, and then we'll also use just Google or ChatGPT to kind of gauge material pricing. Because if you talk to two or three contractors, they say, well, materials have gone up 10% this year.
Right.
If ChatGPT says, well, we could pull up 20 different sources to say, here's why those resources have gone up. It kind of, you can kind of gauge, uh, what you're hearing. Kind of take it with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to change orders.
Well, that was a question I actually had for you. So you do estimate the cost of the project?
Sometimes, we'll talk to contractors, say how much would it be for XYZ scope, like on a price per square foot. And then when we get the proposals from three different general contractors, I'll go through them and put them on a spreadsheet that I have, a template, and line up the scopes, apples to apples between the three GCs.
Right.
I'll go through there and say, hey, they're one's missing this, one's missing that. And you get your questions, and you answer your question, you send your questions out to each of the GCs and you keep updating the numbers. And so with that, you could kind of get a better sense of who is your lowest qualified bid.
Right, right.
The concern is that you have the lowest bid, and that's great, but then they had the least amount of scope, and then now you're paying more. And so it's always something to be avoid. You know what I mean?
No, it's a no, trying to get apples to apples on a contract is always a very interesting process.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So yeah, the low bid often is not often the low bid, so to speak. So you got to analyze that and make sure what's in there and what's not in there. So when you put out a bid package, do you sort of have a fill in the blank package?
I do. After going through the plans, getting familiar with the project, I'll create like a Dropbox link and I'll upload all the plans. Some of these plans could be over 100 megabytes.
Oh yeah, they
And
got to be huge.
you can't put them on a Word doc. And then I'll put an RFP and request for proposal in a Word doc, and I'll say we want to make sure we have these things broken down. Please provide it by X date at this time. Um, Having questions, please let us know.
Yeah.
And they always send RFIs, requests for information, asking for clarification on, well, this plan says there's a conflict here on this plan, or um, we might have to change your spec because of X reason. And so you kind of got to evaluate their questions and say, well, actually, that makes sense, or no, that's a change order trap. You know what I mean? So it's always learning.
A change order trap. Define that for me. That's interesting.
I never thought, I just thought of that right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
A change order trap is where it seems like, oh, that makes sense to move, change direction.
Right.
And you start penciling out and you realize it's more expensive.
Ah, okay.
But now there's times to go with, change orders, more expensive change orders if it saves time off your project. So like switchgear, it might be better to pay, the to save 13 weeks on your project to rush your switchgear. It might be $100,000 more or $30,000 more, but if it saves you, 10 weeks of lost rent,
Right.
works out. So it's always gauging price versus value, price what you pay versus value what you get. Um,
So, and sometimes it's a trap and sometimes it is a benefit.
yeah.
So the contractor will go through and say, "Hey, we want to do this particular part of the project this way. We think it'll be less expensive." And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not.
Yeah. You kind of got to gauge it.
Yeah. Yeah. The delicate process of construction, always interesting. Yeah. So what do you think the future is looking like? What's your crystal ball saying?
I don't know if I have much of a crystal ball. Um,
Okay.
I've noticed that what I can say though is that the past year things have I think there's kind of an upswing in activity.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Oh, that's interesting.
not drastic like COVID,
Right.
just in terms of that, COVID, a lot of people sign new leases.
Right.
Their end of the 5-year lease is up, and now they're saying we want to go somewhere else. Um, and that's where you see some owners are saying, well, if they're leaving, should I rebuild now into something that's bigger or better? Or should I just put new office space in there? So there's kind of a slight increase in demand. I know a couple of the TI, the smaller generals,
Yeah.
they're just swamped right now on just
Oh,
off.
really?
But yet
Wow.
bigger tilt up GCs doing like over 400,000 square feet. I've heard on it's still slow. Things are
Uh,
slightly picking up, but I'm sure a lot of that has to be with the projection of the interest rates.
Oh, right.
Last I heard, they're around what 5-6%. Uh, I'm sure that's going to have a lot to do with it. Now, who has a crystal ball with that? I have no idea.
Did you see any effect of the tariffs?
Honest, surprisingly, no.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
got a couple letters from contractors saying we might not be able to hold our pricing because of these tariffs. But thankfully, I mean, knock on wood, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. So that's good to know. All right. Well, I want to keep in touch with you down the road here and see how the whole construction industry, particularly in warehouses, is changing over the next 6 to 8 months.
I'd appreciate that. Yeah, it was great talking.
Great to talk to you. Where can people get a hold of you, Nick?
I'd say LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Yeah,
Nick
Nicholas Hughan.
Hughan. Yeah. The GH is silenced.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, great to talk to you.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.